We have new developments tonight on all the big scandals plaguing the Obama administration. We'll get to the IRS and Benghazi in a moment. But first, Attorney General Eric Holder may have sealed his fate with this one line.
With regard to the potential prosecution of the press for the disclosure of material, that is not something that I've ever been involved in, heard of, or would think would be a wise policy.
You heard it here first, folks. We broke that story wide open last Friday when we discussed whether Holder perjured himself during congressional testimony. And now the House Judiciary Committee is investigating the matter, and the rest of the media is finally catching up. A couple of questions remain. What's so dangerous about the truth, and what are they hiding? We finally might just get some answers tomorrow and Friday. Holder has summoned bureau chiefs from the mainstream media for a meeting. Fox got an invite. The White House is feeling the heat. Watch Jay Carney dance, dodge, deflect, deny, Chicago style, when asked about the AG today.
Is it the administration's opinion that the Attorney General testified truthfully at that
I think
hearing?
based on what you said, he testified truthfully.
Was he not telling the truth on that point? He was involved in it.
Involved in what?
He signed off on the search warrant. Maybe it was an unindicted code. Are you not involved after signing off on the search warrant?
Again, I would refer you to the Justice Department.
May 16th, the President was asked whether he has confidence in the Attorney General, and he answered in the affirmative. Is that still the case? Does he have confidence in this Attorney General?
He absolutely does, yes.
All right, Kimberly, we talked about this on Friday. What are you guys doing? So, we got to get back on the rails. Going off
you know what?
Kimberly,
Last
Friday,
week we were professional.
You want to know something? We were first to this. We were the first one who pointed out that testimony versus what NBC uncovered and Reuters, that Eric Holder actually knew about this investigation prior, yet denied it there. What did he perjure himself?
Well, listen, I'm not the head of the investigation. I think it's a worthwhile cause to get into the bottom of this because it's certainly a question that remains open and needs to be answered. It's very tough to prove perjury. It would have to be willfully misleading, lying to them. So that's going to be a tough road for them to, what do you say? Go up. Go up.
Eric Holder decided to meet with the bureau chiefs from mainstream media. Also, Fox got an invite. Is that enough?
Well, I would not think so. It's a step. They're trying. It's not going to fool anyone because the reason you call them the bureau chiefs is because you realize you have a fundamental credibility problem. So the bureau chiefs come in and they're not. It's not on camera. You're not going to see any of these meetings, but they're going to be able to have heart-to-heart discussions with them. But the question is going to be: will it be enough to save his job? Maybe. What they're trying to do is also to save his reputation, so that if he does end up leaving, I'll kind of point on the press briefing in the exchange with the press, the reporters and the press secretary. I think still one of the fundamental questions is, okay, so is the question, does the president still have confidence in Eric Holder? That answer was yes. And a White House has complete confidence in any cabinet secretary until they do not. The question, though, is Congress is asking, did Holder lie to us? Right. I want to know, did Holder lie to the president? And is the president upset about that? That is, I think, the key. And if he does it, if they let it go on too much longer, they'll probably even have more problems. His job's gone.
Do you think, Greg, that it's going to be president demanding a resignation, or do you think it would be something like, hey, why don't you resign and I'll accept your resignation?
Well, I don't think President Obama can fire Eric Holder because that cuts his job creation numbers in half. But I will say this. This drives me nuts. Okay, here are the people asking for his resignation, the list. Bill Press, Al Hunt, the same person, by the way, if you've ever noticed their hair. Huffington Post, Keith Olbermann. These are all freaks, complete, utter freaks, are asking Eric Holder to quit or resign, which means he should stay in the job. He should stay there because what they're looking at right now is damaged goods. Basically, they look at him like a can of shaving cream, and they got everything they needed out of him, and they want to toss him and go buy a new can of shaving cream. Don't do that. You got to keep Eric Holder in there. Just because his left-wing credibility has been used up, that makes him even better for the Republicans. I think right now the five should stand behind Eric Holder, stand behind him, and you know what? They can't these guys lynch him, because that's what they're doing. They're saying, we've had enough of him. We need a new left-wing widget to replace him. Don't let him do it.
I'll tell you what, anyone running against a Democrat in 2014 wants this thing to keep going through the election of 2014. Hey, Bob, I wanted to put up a picture of rats jumping off the Titanic, because that is the indication when the ship starts going down. They didn't want me to do it. But honestly, press, Jonathan Turley, a liberal academic, says time for him to go.
Well, as a longtime member of the Freak Caucus, I would say that it's a little premature, but as we said in Washington, we say it's been a term used over the years, death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
And I think that right now, Holder is being besieged from so many directions on so many different things that he's got to have to be saying to himself, I should have listened to my own conscience and gotten out last year until Valley Jarrett to convince him to stay in the job. I have a feeling that that last one, the Rosen piece, is the one that's the big one. Is it a smoking gun or not? I don't necessarily know what the legal technicalities of it is.
I want to get to Kimberly again, but Bob, okay, so all these pundits come out and say this is what should happen. You say you think this is what may happen. What do you think should happen?
You said already.
I think that it's reached a point now where he is besieged from so many different directions for his sake, and I've known him for a long time. I think it probably makes sense for him to resign and let Obama accept his resignation.
Kimberly, he was held in contempt for Fast and Furious, his testimony on Fast and Furious. Being held in contempt is a little different from being found guilty of perjury, right?
Yeah, well, because a criminal matter. I mean, this is a serious allegation being made against the head of the Justice Department. You know, it's no laughing matter, and now his reputation, I think, is permanently tarnished given this situation and a number of the others in Fast and Furious and you know, or the voting scandal, all of that. Now, the problem is he's been a loyal soldier for President Obama, and he got talked into staying, like Bob said, by Valerie Jarrett. So he's become their pawn in this game. And I think if you were to just blame it all on him, you're really missing the big picture here. And the larger question should be, if Rosen was a target, who else?
But I still disagree. I don't think this is not a failure if he goes. I mean, it's like if you cut the tail off a left-wing lizard, the tail grows back. He's done his job. It's not like he failed. I mean, he's just taking all the heat. And Bob, you've said this before. The Attorney General is the lightning rod for the ideological. And you saw that with the right, you see that with the left. He just takes all the bad stuff, and then when he goes, they replace him with the same thing, if not worse. The entire administration is run like an old-style narco cartel. Instead of hiding from the feds, they are the feds, which means we probably should get a drug cartel to prosecute them.
You know,